Right guys, I'll do the best I can through this video, but we've got some news that I think we need to talk about. Yeah, I've managed to get myself pretty injured, so stay tuned. Coming up. Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. Yeah, not my usual enthusiastic, happy self today, although I've still got a smile on my face. Because yeah, this has probably been, well, without doubt, been the toughest week of my life with something pretty big that happened last week. Yeah, which is what this video is about, to try and yeah, just bring you guys up to speed with what's been happening in our world. Because as you'll have seen on Strava, I'm having lots of messages, and there's just been obviously a bit of a silence while we've been dealing with something. But yeah, last Tuesday, I think it was, we were heading home from our usual session that me and Sarah run, and I was involved in an accident that was entirely sort of my fault, and I'll talk about that a little bit later on. But it ended up with me on the floor in a whole world of agony. And yeah, as soon as I hit the deck, I was like, something really big has happened here. And yeah, in all sorts of pain, but managed to sort of get myself up, dusted myself down, got a taxi home, and just thought, oh, it's just a sprained ankle. But the ankle was in a lot of pain, so just went home, had a shower, put a bandage on it, put some ice on it, raised it up, and yeah, after a couple of hours I was in deep sweats. I just couldn't even think straight. The pain was just absolutely unbearable. So it got to about 1 o'clock in the morning, and then I said to Sarah, we need to get into hospital pretty quick. She phoned for an ambulance. Unfortunately, wouldn't send someone because although I expected I had a broken ankle, they said unless there's actually bone coming out of the skin, they wouldn't send an ambulance at that time of day. So we called for a taxi, and all I could do, I couldn't put any weight on it whatsoever, so I just had my carbon trekking poles, trying to get down the corridor, and then passed out in the corridor. This might take a while, this video, but yeah, the pain was just too much. But managed to eventually sort of got myself out of the flat, into the taxi, down to A&E. And of course, you know, once you get to A&E, the staff, the NHS, are obviously pretty incredible. So I think we got there about 1:30 in the morning, and yeah, was into having an X-ray within about half an hour of being there. After being assessed by the nurse and things, I was just sort of lying down on the bed, and then I had to try and stand myself up for an X-ray, and just couldn't, and again passed out in the X-ray room. Just in like a complete cold sweat, and at which point then, you know, they knew exactly what had happened and everything. So then this lovely girl called I'm going to try this on the sofa because I have to spend about 22 hours a day at the moment lying down with the legs sort of raised up in the air. But yeah, this amazing nurse called Sophie, who knew what I did for a living and everything, had to kind of break the news with what happened, and I was certainly not going to be running any time soon. Yeah, that I'd broken my ankle. I haven't got any of the X-rays just yet, but I'll put them up in the next video once I manage to get hold of them. And there wasn't really much they could do that night, so they wrapped it up in plaster. At about 5 in the morning, we've got to about now, wrapped it up in plaster. I didn't want any painkillers. I've never had any painkillers in my life, but I was quite close to certainly having some then. And yeah, then was just sort of sent on our way, saying that someone would be in touch. And then yeah, the next day the hospital phoned back and invited or asked me to come in for surgery to put the ankle back together again, basically. As someone that's never had an operation in their life, I've never had any medical conditions of anything. I haven't had a cold for about 10 years. And that's probably about the worst thing that's ever happened to me. I've been very, very fortunate in life to never have anything ever go wrong. I've never even taken a paracetamol or an aspirin, which might seem quite severe. I just spend my whole life trying to look after me the best I can. So there's a bit of a shell shock of everything that was happening so fast. And then yeah, Friday morning we had to get up super early, go back into Lewisham. Speak to the anaesthetist and and sort of all of her team and the surgeons and everything, and taking through exactly. They never know exactly what they're going to do until they're kind of inside your body, basically. And I was obviously very, very scared. I didn't like the idea of a general anaesthetic. I don't know why. I just was really, really scared about it. So I asked if they could just numb like the bottom part of my body, and I could sort of stay conscious through the operation, which some people might think is quite severe, but I just wanted to know what was happening, and they could almost ask me some questions as I went through, which I know seems absolutely bonkers, but that kind of just made a bit more sense to me. So I just had like a injection in my spine, similar to an epidural for a lady who was giving birth. And yeah, so throughout the whole operation, there's a lot of banging and I'm not sure sawing, but banging, putting metal plates into my ankle, or one metal plate and 3 or 4 screws. And the whole thing lasted about 45 minutes, which was a lot quicker than they were expecting, because it was actually very, very straightforward and it wasn't anywhere near as bad as they had initially thought. So that was obviously really good. I was completely conscious through the whole thing. I just can't thank the anaesthetist, Kate, enough for just yeah, I just can't thank the anaesthetist, Kate, enough for she just talked just absolute rubbish to me throughout the whole operation, just about life in general, and just try and take me out of what we were both sort of going through. Well, I was going through, and she could like look around the curtain and see what was happening to my leg, and I could feel everything that was kind of going on. I couldn't feel any pain, but I could feel them moving my legs around. And yeah, it was a pretty horrible experience. Surgery kind of is. It's one of those horrible sort of things that unfortunately we do have to go through every now and then. But yeah, then was in recovery for the rest of the day, and then you have to wait for quite a long time for all of this stuff to flush out your system. So we're in the hospital for around about 12 hours. And yeah, home on Friday night, basically. And yeah, they've put it back in a cast, as you can see here. This isn't all a cast. This is like a cast at the bottom, and this is all just bandaging. So of course, guys, it kind of obviously goes without saying, but thank you so much to everybody at Lewisham Hospital for putting me all back together, everybody in A&E on that horrible night we had to go down, and everybody, the surgeons and the nurses and the doctors and everybody that has helped me through this last few weeks. The support and the compassion and just listening to everything I had to say about my career and my life and how important this kind of stuff is, and not rushing everything and just making sure everything was just perfect. That's the NHS for you. As you can see, it has kind of affected me quite a lot. I have to spend about 22 odd hours a day pretty much on the sofa with my legs in the air, which obviously fine when we're sleeping. But yeah, I cannot put any weight whatsoever through this leg for the next 2 weeks. And then yeah, then we'll be back in the hospital to have that off and be put into a boot. So at the moment they've said around about 6 weeks before I could even think about going for a run or anything like that. That is very optimistic. I'm really surprised they've even said that, to be honest. But yeah, in my eyes, I've got this for the next 2 weeks, and then I've got to have an air cast boot for the 4 weeks, and I can start to put a little bit of weight through it then. So I'm off any sort of exercise at all for the time being. And then yeah, once the air cast boot's on, then I can at least get out and about and walk a bit. So I'm pretty much flat bound for the next 2 weeks, cannot go out. Of course, Sarah's just been absolutely unbelievable. I don't know how anyone could go through this if you were living by yourself. It would be utterly impossible. I can't do anything. I can't cook, I can't move. The only thing I get up for is to go to the loo, which is just the most horrific experience. And my crutches are over here at the moment, and I can't even get them. I'm gonna have to get on my bum to get across the floor to get out and get the crutches. But that's just what we're going through, guys. You know, accidents and bad things do happen in life every now and then, and we don't always have a reason or whatever. Like, we're dealt all sorts of weird and wonderful things throughout life, and this is just part of my journey of what we're going at the moment. Yes, I'm quite upset about it. I haven't really talked about it, but I'm completely fine. Like, as I say, these things happen, and it's just how we deal with them and we move on. Nobody has said that we're not going to make an absolute 100% full recovery. And yeah, we'll probably look back in 2-3 months' time as we're building up fitness again to think, what, we'll just have a laugh about it, sort of thing. Let me know what's happening in your world. How's your week been? You know, what gets me through all of these times when we have to have some enforced rest is hearing all of your guys' stories. Some of my coaching people have done amazing stuff over the weekend, and yeah, I just love seeing that. I'm half coach, half athlete, so the coaching part of everything is really keeping me going, keeping me smiling, and really loving hearing all of that stuff at the moment. So yeah, keep those stories coming, guys. Keep letting me know what's happening in your world. And like I say, I'm completely fine. I've dealt with it, and we're moving on. It's all just part of us going on this weird and wonderful journey together. Yeah, and who knows, once we get to Valencia come December, running a huge PB, we'll look back on this and think, you know, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. Literally stronger, with extra metalwork in my leg to get a super strong ankle. So as I say, guys, that's where we are. Business is carrying on as usual. I can't move much, but luckily I'm very fortunate that pretty much everything I do is controlled via my laptop, so I can carry on working. Hats and orders are still going out exactly the same way, so really appreciate all those orders that are coming in. So the person, and I'll put your name just below, that ordered, I flashed up on my phone as I was mid-operation. I've got an extra special thank you for you coming in the post very soon. That's kind of all I've got to really say at the moment. In terms of the channel and everything, yeah, this is obviously Monday now. We'll put out the regular Monday video, the Spring Marathon Club, tomorrow on Tuesday. We just need to film that soon. And then, yeah, the content will carry on, and I'll document this journey. It'll be interesting because I'm going to go absolute zero fitness, and then we'll build that back up. And that's going to be an interesting thing to follow along. You can see what I'm like off a base of zero, because I cannot do anything. My muscle mass will just pretty much waste away over the next couple of weeks, as with my fitness as well. So that will make some interesting content at the very least. But yeah, hard work getting back to fitness. So we've got some cooking videos and some reviews and stuff. The channel's just carry on as normal, really. It just won't have much of me actually running it for the next few weeks while I've got this lovely thing on my leg. So that's it, guys. As usual, it might come as a bit of a shock. Sorry, I haven't been able to put this stuff out there yet. I've just obviously been concentrating on getting well and getting stable, which I feel like I am now. I didn't have any painkillers yesterday, and I haven't had any today. It's still freaking painful, but it's getting a lot better now. So yeah, we're making some progress. So as usual, guys, thank you for all your support. It really means the world to me. It's why we make these videos. It's how we've built this whole business, is with you guys following along and liking, sharing, subscribing. As I say, no interruption with everything we're doing now. We're kind of back to normal. Of course, thank you so much to Sarah, all my coaching people who have obviously known about this for the last few days, for all your support. And yeah, finally, guys, thank you. I'm sure some people out there have been worried. I've received quite a few messages over the last few days on various platforms, thinking, you know, with people asking what happened with Trans Gran Canaria. Sarah couldn't go. Well, she could have gone, but she wasn't going to, and that's super kind of her to stay here and look after me, because yeah, this all happened a couple of days before we were meant to fly out. So that's it, guys. Next video in a few days with how everything is going. I hope your training and everything is going well in your world, and I'll see you in the next one.